President Ko In-sung stood on the bridge of the Unity, the largest warship ever built. Around him, beings from 47 different species worked together at stations designed with technology from across the galaxy. Ancient human quantum processors worked alongside Altarian, emotional resonance networks, and Rigelian computing systems. Devourer fleet is entering the Outer Rim, reported Admiral Park Yoo-jin from the tactical station. She commanded the combined galactic fleet, which included ships from every council species plus the awakened ancient humans. Estimated arrival at the first inhabited system, 4 hours. President Ko looked at the main display. The Devourer ships were massive, each one the size of a small moon. Their dark hulls seemed to absorb light itself, making them look like moving holes in space. Dr. Zhang, are the planetary shields ready? Ko asked. Dr. Zhang Su-young looked up from her station. She had spent the last month integrating ancient Terran defense technology with modern galactic systems. All inhabited worlds report green status. The combined shield networks should hold, but we don't know for how long. Elder Ro Myung-soo walked over from the ancient human section of the bridge. The Devourers consume energy, he explained to the mixed crew. They feed on power sources, life energy, even the binding force that holds atoms together. That's how they've crossed the empty space between galaxies. How did you fight them before? Asked Commander Vex Thine, the Altarian tactical officer. We didn't, Elder Ro admitted. 3 million years ago, our calculations showed we weren't strong enough to stop them. That's why we went into stasis. We needed time for the galaxy to develop new technologies, new ways of thinking. Captain Moon Ji-young was monitoring the weapon systems. The hybrid weapons are performing better than expected. Combining our quantum manipulation with Centauri bioadaptation has created something entirely new. First contact in 30 minutes, Admiral Park announced. All ships prepare for battle. The combined fleet spread out across space. Ancient human ships with their smooth, graceful lines flew alongside angular Rigelian vessels and organic-looking Centauri bioships. It was the most diverse military force in galactic history. President Ko opened a communication channel to all ships. Today we fight not as separate species but as one galaxy. We fight for our homes, our children, and our future. On ships throughout the fleet, beings who had once been enemies worked side by side. Altarian empaths shared emotional strength with ancient human warriors. Rigelian computers processed battle data alongside 3-million-year-old tactical systems, enemy weapons charging, reported Captain Moon. Energy signatures are unlike anything we've seen. The first Devourer ship opened fire. A beam of pure destruction lanced out, designed to drain the energy from everything it touched. But the combined shields held. Ancient Terran quantum fields merged with modern energy dispersal systems to redirect the attack harmlessly into space. Return fire, Admiral Park ordered. The galactic fleet's weapons struck back. Hybrid energy beams that combined the best of every species' technology. Projectiles that shifted between dimensions using ancient human science and modern quantum theory. Bioweapons that adapted in real time using Centauri life manipulation techniques. The Devourer ship's dark hull began to crack. For the first time in its existence, it had encountered something that could hurt it. More ships incoming, Dr. Zhang reported. Hundreds of them. The battle became a massive three-dimensional chess game played across light years of space. Ancient human tactical knowledge guided modern sensor arrays. Altarian emotional coordination helped crews work together better than they ever had before. Rigelian processing power managed weapon systems too complex for any single species to control. But the Devourers were learning too. Their attacks began to adapt, finding weaknesses in the combined defense systems. We're losing ships, Admiral Park reported grimly. The enemy is adapting faster than our weapons can compensate. President Ko made a difficult decision. Elder Ro, can your people activate the deep systems? Elder Ro hesitated. The deep systems are our most dangerous technology. They can manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself. If we use them, we risk damaging the galaxy we're trying to save. If we don't use them, there won't be a galaxy left to damage, Ko replied. Elder Ro nodded and activated an ancient control system that had been dormant for millions of years. All ancient human ships activate deep system protocols. Across the battle zone, the ancient human vessels began to change. Their hulls became translucent, showing energy patterns that hurt to look at directly. They moved in ways that defied physics, appearing in multiple places at once. "What are they doing?" asked Commander Vex, his blue skin pale with amazement. "They're existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously," Dr. Jang explained, reading data that made little sense. "They can attack the Devourers from angles that don't exist in normal space." The tide of battle began to turn. The Devourers found themselves fighting enemies they couldn't properly target, struck by weapons that came from directions that shouldn't be possible. But the ancient humans couldn't maintain the deep systems for long. The strain was enormous, and several ships began to flicker out of existence entirely. "We need to end this quickly," Captain Moon reported, her voice strained from controlling forces beyond normal comprehension. Admiral Park saw the opportunity. "All ships focus fire on the lead Devourer vessel. If we can destroy it, the others might retreat." The entire galactic fleet concentrated its attack on a single target. Ancient human quantum manipulation focused energy from every other ship into one devastating strike. Altarian emotional resonance synchronized the attack across species barriers. Centauri bioadaptation allowed the weapons to adjust in real time to the enemy's defenses. The lead Devourer ship, which had consumed entire star systems, began to collapse under the combined assault. Its dark hull cracked, revealing the terrible emptiness inside. With a flash of anti-light, it imploded completely. The other Devourer ships stopped their attack. For a moment, the battle zone was completely silent. Then, impossibly, the Devourers began to retreat. They turned their massive ships around and started moving back toward the empty space between galaxies. "They're leaving?" Commander Vex asked in disbelief. "They've learned that this galaxy can fight back," Elder Rowe explained, deactivating the dangerous deep systems. "Devourers are like any predator. They only attack prey they think they can consume safely." President Ko opened communications to the entire fleet. "The enemy is retreating. We have won." The celebration that erupted across the galactic fleet was unlike anything in recorded history. Beings from dozens of species cheered together, having shared a victory that none could have achieved alone. But President Ko was already thinking about what came next. "Dr. Zhang, begin planning for the new galactic infrastructure. We'll need systems that can support this level of cooperation permanently." Dr. Yang smiled as she began working on designs that combined the best technology from every species. "I'm thinking we call it the Galactic Union instead of the Galactic Council. Something that suggests we're all equal partners." Elder Rowe approached President Ko. "What role will the ancient humans play in this new galaxy?" Ko considered the question carefully. "The same role that modern humans will play. The same role that every species will play. We'll be partners, teachers and students, leaders and followers depending on what the situation needs." "No more ruling from the shadows?" Elder Rowe asked. "No more ruling at all," Ko replied. "Just working together to build something better than any of us could build alone." Admiral Park began coordinating the journey home. Ships from every species traveling together, sharing technology and stories. Ancient humans learning about the galaxy they had missed. Modern species understanding their true history. Captain Moon looked out at the retreating Devourer ships. "Do you think they'll come back?" "Probably not for a few million years," Elder Rowe said. "And when they do, they'll find a galaxy that's had time to grow even stronger." As the combined fleet headed home, President Ko thought about the future. A galaxy where ancient wisdom worked with new innovation, where every species contributed their unique strengths to the common good, where humanity's greatest achievement wasn't conquest or control, but knowing when to step forward and when to step back. The age of the elders was over. The age of partnership had begun, and in the vast reaches of space, the galaxy continued to grow and change, guided not by any single species, but by the combined wisdom of all its children working together toward a future none of them could build alone. Earth was no newcomer to the galaxy, but Earth was ready to be part of something new. The Galactic Council chamber was more tense than it had ever been in its 1,000-year history. Representatives from 47 different species sat around the great circular table, but all eyes were on the human delegation. Ambassador Cho Seung-ho stood calmly at the center of the chamber. He had been Earth's top diplomat for 20 years, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. Behind him sat Elder Rowe Myung-soo and Captain Moon Ji-young, one of the ancient human military leaders who had awakened 3 days ago. "The evidence is clear," declared Vex Corian, the Altarian Council leader. His blue skin was darker than usual, a sign of stress in his species. Humanity has been lying to us for 2 centuries. You're not a young species. You're our former masters returned to reclaim your empire. That's not true, Ambassador Cho replied firmly. We didn't know about our history until we found the ruins. Modern humanity developed naturally, just like we told you. But you carry the same genetic patterns, argued Senator Thelmaran from the Centauri Republic. Her tentacles moved nervously as she spoke. You can activate technology that none of us can even understand. You have sleeper agents hidden across the galaxy in stasis pods. Elder Ro stood up slowly. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of 3 million years. We are not sleeper agents. We are refugees returning home to find our children grown strong and wise. Your children? Vex Corian's voice rose. We are not your children. We are independent species with our own civilizations. Yes, Elder Ro said simply. That's exactly what we hoped you would become. Dr. Seo Min Ho, Earth's lead scientist on the integration project, activated a holographic display. The genetic evidence shows that modern humans are modified descendants of the ancient Terrans. We're the same people, but we were made to forget our past so we could grow up naturally. Convenient, muttered Technol, the Rigelian representative. His metallic body gleamed under the chamber lights. Now that you're ready to take over again, you claim you're just innocent descendants. Captain Moon Ji-young finally spoke. She was smaller than Elder Ro, but her presence filled the room. If we wanted to take over, she said quietly, we already would have. To prove her point, she touched a small device on her wrist. Instantly, every piece of technology in the chamber stopped working. The lights went out. The air circulation stopped. Even the translation devices fell silent. In the darkness, Captain Moon's voice was perfectly clear. Every piece of technology in this galaxy is based on systems we built millions of years ago. We designed them. We can control them. If we wanted your submission, we wouldn't need to ask for it. The lights came back on. The technology restarted, but the message was clear. That's exactly what we're afraid of, Vex Corian said, his voice shaking slightly. Ambassador Cho stepped forward again. We're not here to threaten you. We're here to warn you. Show them the long-range scans. Dr. Seo activated new images. They showed the approaching ships from beyond the galaxy. Thousands of them, larger than anything the current civilizations had ever built. The Devourers, Elder Ro said. We've been preparing for their arrival for millions of years. They consume entire galaxies, turning everything into fuel for their journey to the next target. How do we know you're not working with them? Senator Thel asked suspiciously. Captain Moon laughed, but there was no humor in it. The Devourers don't work with anyone. They consume everything. That's why we built our original civilization. That's why we developed the technology to preserve ourselves through the long wait. We knew they would come, and we knew the galaxy would need to be united to face them. The images showed more details of the approaching fleet, energy readings that were off the charts, weapons that could destroy entire star systems. Our calculations showed they'll reach the outer rim in 6 months, Dr. Seo reported. If we're going to stop them, we need to work together. Why should we trust you? Vex Corian demanded. Elder Ro activated another display. This one showed the current state of galactic civilization. Look at what you've built, he said with genuine admiration. Faster-than-light networks that surpass our old designs. Planetary engineering we never thought possible. Cultural diversity that makes the galaxy richer than it ever was under our rule. He pointed to specific examples. The Altarian emotional resonance technology, the Centauri bioadaptation systems, the Rigelian quantum computing networks. None of these existed when we ruled the galaxy. You created them independently. That's why we went to sleep, Captain Moon added. So you could become who you really are instead of copies of us. Dr. Seo brought up more technical data. If we combine ancient Terran technology with modern galactic innovations, we can create defenses that neither could build alone. But it has to be a true partnership. Partnership? Senator Thel's tentacles curled skeptically. How do we know you won't just take control once the threat is over? Ambassador Cho made a decision. Because we're going to give you insurance. He activated his communicator. Captain Yoon, please join us. Captain Yoon Dongwoo entered the chamber carrying a data crystal. This contains the complete technical specifications for every piece of ancient Terran technology, he announced. We're sharing it with all council species. The chamber erupted in surprised voices. This was technology beyond their wildest dreams, and humanity was simply giving it away. Why? Vexcorian asked, stunned. Because that's what partners do, Elder Rowe said. They share knowledge. They trust each other. They build something together that's stronger than what any of them could build alone. Captain Moon stood up. The ancient Terran civilization failed because we tried to control everything. We don't want to make that mistake again. This time we succeed together or we fail together. Dr. Seo activated one final display. It showed a battle plan that combined ancient human technology with the best innovations from every council species. Ships designed with Altarian emotional resonance systems and Terran quantum manipulation, weapons powered by Centauri bioadaptation and ancient energy-focusing techniques, defenses based on Rigelian computing power and million-year-old strategic knowledge. Separately, none of us can stop the Devourers, Ambassador Cho said. Together, we might actually have a chance. The council representatives looked at each other. The fear was still there, but it was being replaced by something else. Hope. If we do this, Vexcorian said slowly, it changes everything. The balance of power, the structure of the council, our entire way of life. Yes, Elder Rowe agreed. It changes everything. But change is the only way to grow. We learned that 3 million years ago when we chose to step aside. Now it's time to learn it again, but this time together. Senator Thel was the first to speak. The Centauri Republic agrees to the alliance. One by one, the other species added their agreement. Not because they fully trusted humanity, but because they understood the alternative, unity or extinction. As the meeting ended, Captain Moon approached Ambassador Cho. Do you really think they'll accept us as equals? They'll have to, Cho replied, because we're about to prove that we mean what we say. When this is over, when the Devourers are defeated, we'll step back again if we need to. But this time I don't think we'll need to. This time, I think we'll all be ready to share the galaxy as it should be shared. The war preparations began immediately. For the first time in galactic history, every species would fight side by side, combining their unique strengths against a common threat. And at the center of it all, the children of Earth prepared to prove that sometimes the greatest strength is knowing when to lead, and when to follow, and when to simply stand together as equals. The stasis chamber opened with a soft hiss. Elder Rowe Myung-soo sat up slowly, his movements careful after 3 million years of sleep. He looked exactly like a human, but everything about him seemed more perfect. His eyes were clearer, his features sharper, his presence stronger. Dr. Shin Yunju watched nervously as the ancient human looked around the chamber. She was Earth's best expert on brain science, and she had been called in to help communicate with whoever they found in the stasis pods. Where are we? Elder Rowe asked. His voice was clear and he spoke perfect Korean, though with an accent that sounded incredibly old. You're on a planet called Kepler 4482b, Dr. Shin replied carefully. My name is Dr. Shin Yunju. We're from Earth. Elder Rowe's eyes widened. Earth? The children made it to the stars? He stood up, and even though he looked like he was in his 30s, there was something ancient in his movements. How long have we been sleeping? About 3 million years, Dr. Shin said. Elder Rowe nodded as if he had expected this. The calculated time. We knew it would take this long for you to develop naturally and rediscover space travel. He looked around the chamber, which was filled with thousands of other stasis pods. Are the others waking up? Yes, General Bae Hyun-woo said, stepping forward. He was Earth's top military strategist and had been preparing for this moment since the first pod opened. We've activated 17 facilities across the galaxy. Over 2 million of your people are waking up. Elder Rowe walked to a wall covered in symbols and placed his hand on it. Immediately, information began flowing across the surface in languages both ancient and new. Good, he said. The network is functioning. The other elders will be able to coordinate. He turned back to them. You must have questions. Why did you go to sleep? Kang Wu asked. He had been studying the ancient ruins for weeks now, but he still couldn't understand why such an advanced civilization would simply disappear. Elder Rowe was quiet for a moment. We were too powerful, he said finally. Our technology could reshape matter, manipulate time, cross dimensions. We could do anything we wanted. But that was the problem. He walked to another panel and activated a 3-dimensional display. It showed the galaxy as it had been millions of years ago. Hundreds of alien species lived on thousands of worlds, but they all looked the same. Their technology was identical. Their cities were copies of human designs. The younger species stopped growing, Elder Rowe explained. They stopped innovating, stopped exploring, stopped becoming what they could be. They were content to let us solve all their problems and make all their decisions. Dr. Shin understood. You were holding them back. Yes, so we made the most difficult choice in our history. We decided to leave. The display changed to show the construction of massive stasis facilities, millions of humans entering sleep chambers, the gradual shutdown of the galactic network. But we didn't just disappear, Elder Rowe continued. We left behind selected groups of our own people on Earth and other worlds. We changed their genetics to make them more primitive, removed their memories of our technology. We let them start over as if they were a young species. General Bay frowned. You're saying modern humans are descendants of your people? Not descendants, Elder Rowe corrected. You are us. We made sure that when we woke up, we would find the galaxy populated by our own people who had grown up naturally, without our advanced technology to depend on. Dr. Shin activated her memory restoration equipment. Can you show us more? Help us understand what your civilization was really like? Elder Rowe agreed and allowed her to connect the device to his mind. What they saw through the neural link was incredible. The ancient human civilization had been beyond anything the current galaxy could imagine. They had ships that could travel anywhere instantly, cities that floated in space without support, technology that could turn thoughts into reality. But the memories also showed the problem. Alien species that had once been creative and independent became like children, always asking humans what to do. Entire civilizations stopped developing their own culture and just copied human ideas. We realized that true strength comes from growing up independently, Elder Rowe explained as the memories played. So we gave the galaxy that chance. We programmed our technology to recognize our return when the galaxy was ready for us to come back. How did you know when that would be? Dr. Shin asked. When humans rediscovered space travel on their own. When the alien species had advanced enough to build their own galactic civilization. When the galaxy was ready for partnership instead of dependence. Kang Wu looked at the stasis pods around them. So all of these people have been waiting for 3 million years. Time passes differently in stasis, Elder Rowe said. For us, it feels like we just went to sleep yesterday. But we dreamed of this moment. We dreamed of coming home to find our children grown strong and independent. General Bay asked the question everyone was thinking. What happens now? Do you take control again? Elder Rowe smiled, and for the first time he looked truly happy. No, that's not why we returned. We came back to see what you had built without us, to learn from you, to be part of the galaxy again, but as partners, not rulers. Dr. Shin's equipment showed more memories. The ancient humans hadn't just been powerful, they had been wise. They had seen the danger in their own strength and had chosen to step back. The current alien civilizations have technologies we never imagined, Elder Rowe said, studying the data flowing across the walls. They've grown in ways we never could have predicted. They've become truly independent peoples with their own cultures and ideas. But they're afraid of us, General Bay pointed out. The Galactic Council thinks humanity is trying to take over. Elder Rowe nodded seriously. That fear is understandable. We were their rulers once, even if we tried to be kind rulers. They remember us in their oldest stories as the people who controlled everything. He activated another display, showing the current state of the galaxy. But look what they've accomplished without us. Faster than light travel using principles we never discovered. Energy manipulation techniques that surpass our old methods. Art and culture that is truly their own. Dr. Shin realized something important. You're proud of them. Of course we are, Elder Rowe said. They're our greatest success. We gave up our civilization so they could find their own paths. And they did. They became better than we ever were. More stasis pods were opening throughout the facility. Other ancient humans were waking up and learning about the galaxy they had returned to. Each one showed the same reaction, amazement at what the younger species had achieved. There is one more thing, Elder Rowe said, his expression growing serious. We didn't just return because we missed home. We returned because the galaxy is about to face a threat that requires all of us working together. What kind of threat? General Bay asked. Elder Rowe activated a long-range scanner that had been built into the facility. It showed the edge of the galaxy, where something massive was approaching from the dark space between galaxies. The reason we built our original civilization wasn't just exploration, he explained. We were preparing for this, an invasion from outside our galaxy. We calculated it would arrive about now just as we were waking up. The display showed ships unlike anything they had seen before. Thousands of them, approaching from the void between galaxies. We went to sleep not just to let you grow, but to make sure we would all be ready when this moment came. The galaxy needs both our ancient knowledge and your new innovations to survive what's coming. Dr. Shin looked at the approaching threat, then at the ancient human who had just awakened. So you came back to help us fight? Elder Rose smiled. No, we came back to fight alongside you. There's a difference. This time we're all equals. This time we face the future together. The research ship Meridian moved slowly through space toward the planet Kepler 442b. Dr. Kang Wu pressed his face against the window and watched the brown and green world grow larger. He had been studying ancient alien ruins for 20 years, but something about this planet felt different. We're getting close, said Commander Park So-min from the captain's chair. Her voice was calm, but Kang Wu could hear excitement underneath. The scans show structures that are over 3 million years old. Nari Choi looked up from her computer screen. As the ship's language expert, she spent most of her time trying to understand alien writing. The energy readings are strange, she said. These ruins are still powered after all this time. Dr. Lee Jun walked over to join them. He was the team's expert on ancient technology. That's impossible, he said, shaking his head. No power source lasts that long. Even our best fusion reactors only work for a few hundred years. The Meridian landed near a massive structure that rose from the planet's surface like a mountain, but this mountain was clearly built by someone. Its sides were covered in smooth metal that still shined after millions of years. Strange symbols covered every surface. Kang Wu was the first to step outside. The air was breathable, which was lucky. He walked toward the nearest wall and placed his hand on the metal surface. It was warm to the touch. Look at this, Nari called from a few meters away. She was standing in front of what looked like a door, except it was perfectly round and had no handles. The symbols here are different from anything we've seen before. Lee Jun ran his scanner over the door. There's definitely power running through this thing, he said, but I can't figure out how to open it. Kang Wu joined them at the door. Something about the symbols looked familiar, but he couldn't place it. Without thinking, he reached out and touched the center of the door. The moment his skin made contact, the door began to glow. Lines of light spread out from where he touched, following the strange symbols. With a soft sound, the door rolled aside. How did you do that? Park So-min asked, her hand moving to her weapon. I don't know. Kang Wu replied honestly. It just felt right. They entered carefully. The inside of the structure was even more amazing than the outside. The walls curved upward into a dome high above their heads. Everything was lit by a soft blue light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. In the center of the room stood a pillar covered in symbols. But these symbols were different again. Nari walked around it slowly, taking pictures with her camera. This is incredible, she whispered. It's like they're telling a story. What kind of story? Park So-min asked. Nari was quiet for a long moment, studying the symbols. It's hard to translate, but I think it's about a journey. A long journey across the stars. She paused. And look at this symbol here. It appears over and over again. She pointed to a symbol that looked like a circle with lines coming out of it. I think this means home or origin point. Lee Jun was scanning the pillar with his equipment. The technology in this thing is beyond anything I've ever seen, he said. It's like comparing a torch to a fusion reactor. We're the torch. Kang Wu noticed something else. Around the base of the pillar were more symbols, but these looked different from the others. They looked almost familiar. Nari, he called. Come look at these. She knelt down beside him. Her eyes grew wide. These symbols, she said slowly. They're not like the others. They're older. More basic. She was quiet for a moment. They look almost like very ancient human writing. That's impossible, Park So-min said. Humans have only been in space for 200 years. These ruins are millions of years old. But Nari was studying the symbols more closely. This one means water, she said, pointing to a wavy line. And this one means earth or soil. She looked up at them. These are definitely human symbols, but they're so old I can barely recognize them. Lee Jun's scanner began making rapid beeping sounds. The pillar is responding to something, he said. Energy levels are rising. The room around them began to change. The walls lit up with new patterns. Images appeared in the air above the pillar, created by some kind of advanced technology. The images showed star maps. Hundreds of star systems connected by lines of light. At the center of it all was a familiar yellow star with a small blue-green planet orbiting it. "That's Earth," Park So-min said quietly. More images appeared. They showed beings that looked like humans, but taller and stronger. These beings were building great cities among the stars. They traveled between worlds in ships that could cross the galaxy in days. "The computer is calling them something," Nari said, listening to sounds coming from the pillar. "It sounds like Terrans, the people of Terra. That's an old name for Earth." The images showed the Terrans meeting other alien races, teaching them, guiding them, helping them build their own civilizations. Then the images changed. They showed the Terrans discussing something important. They looked sad, worried. The images were hard to understand, but it seemed like they were making a difficult choice. The last image showed the Terrans entering great chambers filled with sleeping pods. Millions of them lying down to sleep. The image faded and the room returned to normal. "What did we just see?" Park So-min asked. Nari was translating more symbols that had appeared. "I think," she said slowly, "we just saw the history of an ancient human civilization, one that ruled the galaxy millions of years ago." "But that can't be right," Lee Jun said. "Humans evolved on Earth. We have the fossil record to prove it." Kang Wu was studying the star map that was still glowing on the wall. "Look at this," he said. "This map shows Earth's exact location, not just in our galaxy, but in relation to every other star system. How could aliens from millions of years ago know exactly where Earth was?" He touched another symbol on the wall. Immediately, new information appeared. Lists of genetic codes, DNA patterns, and at the top of each list was the same symbol that meant Terran. "These are human DNA patterns," Nari said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But they're more detailed than anything our best scientists can create. It's like someone cataloged every possible human genetic combination." Park So-min activated her communicator. "Command, this is the Meridian. We need immediate backup. And we need to contact Earth. We found something that changes everything we thought we knew about human history." As they waited for a response, Kang Wu placed his hand on the pillar again. More symbols lit up and he could swear he heard something like a voice speaking in a language he almost understood. "Welcome home," the voice seemed to say. "We have been waiting for you to return." 3 days after the discovery, Admiral Jin Taeho arrived with a full battle group. His flagship, the Enterprise, was the largest ship in the Earth fleet. But even he seemed small next to the ancient structure on Kepler 442b. Dr. Kim Hye-jin stepped out of the shuttle behind the Admiral. She was Earth's best genetic scientist, and she carried equipment that could analyze DNA faster than anything ever built. She had been studying the data from the Meridian team for the past 3 days without sleep. "Show me everything," Admiral Jin said to Commander Park So-min. They walked through the ancient structure again. This time Dr. Kim took samples from every surface while Lee Jun recorded energy readings. The structure seemed more active now, as if it knew more humans were present. "The genetic data is incredible," Dr. Kim said as she worked. "These patterns match human DNA perfectly, but they also show genetic sequences we don't have anymore. It's like humans used to be much more advanced genetically speaking." Captain Yoon Dong-woo joined them in the main chamber. He was the pilot of the Eternal Dawn, an experimental ship that used new quantum engines. He was known for being fearless, but the ancient structure made even him nervous. "The Galactic Council is demanding answers," Admiral Jin told them. 3 council ships are already on their way here. They want us to stop our research and leave immediately." "Why?" Kang Wu asked. "This is human history we're uncovering." "That's exactly why," the Admiral replied. "If humans really did rule the galaxy once, it changes everything about our position in the current political structure." Nari had been working on translating more of the symbols. "I found something important," she called from across the room. "There's a section here about something called the Great Sleep. It talks about a time when the Terrans would return to finish what they started." Dr. Kim looked up from her genetic scanner. "That matches what I'm finding in the DNA samples. Modern humans carry dormant genetic sequences that match these ancient patterns perfectly. It's like we're designed to activate this technology." Captain Yoon was examining what looked like a control panel covered in symbols. Without thinking, he placed his hand on the largest symbol. The entire structure began to shake. Light poured from every wall. In the distance, they could hear a deep humming sound that seemed to come from underground. "What did you do?" Park So-min shouted over the noise. "I don't know," Yoon replied. I just touched it. The floor in the center of the room began to open. A platform rose up carrying what looked like a circular doorway made of pure energy. The energy swirled and danced, creating patterns of light. It's a Stargate, Li Jun said in amazement. But it's more advanced than anything the current galactic civilizations have built. Admiral Jin was already calling his ship. All units prepare for possible hostile contact. We don't know where that gate leads. But the gate wasn't bringing anything through. Instead, it was sending out signals. Signals that reached across the galaxy faster than light itself. On the Enterprise, the communications officer reported strange activity. Sir, we're receiving responses to signals we didn't send. They're coming from all over the galaxy. What kind of responses? Admiral Jin asked. Recognition signals, sir. Like old computers waking up and saying hello. Dr. Kim's genetic scanner began showing new readings. The dormant sequences in human DNA are activating, she said. Not just in us, but in every human within 1,000 kilometers of this structure. Nari was translating frantically as new symbols appeared on the walls. It's a countdown, she said. The structure is activating systems across the galaxy. Ancient human systems that have been sleeping for millions of years. Through the Stargate, images began to appear. Views of other worlds, other structures. All of them were waking up. All of them were responding to the signal from Kepler 442b. Look at this, Captain Yoon called from another control panel. I think this shows the galaxy as it was millions of years ago. A three-dimensional map appeared in the air above them. It showed the galaxy filled with connected worlds, thousands of planets linked by stargates and faster-than-light communication networks. At the center of it all was Earth. The Terrans didn't just live in the galaxy, Kang Wu realized. They built the entire galactic civilization. Every major trade route, every communication network, every piece of advanced technology the current alien races use. Dr. Kim was studying her readings more carefully. The genetic activation is spreading, she said. Every human in space is beginning to show these changes. We're becoming more like our ancient ancestors. Admiral Jin received another communication from his ship. Sir, the Galactic Council ships have arrived. They're demanding we shut down whatever we've activated. Tell them we're trying to understand it ourselves, the Admiral replied. But even as he spoke, more stargates were opening. The network that had been sleeping for millions of years was coming back online. And every activation made the same thing clear. This wasn't alien technology that humans had found. This was human technology that humans had built. The largest stargate, the one in the center of the room, began to show something different. Not images of other worlds, but images of vast chambers filled with sleeping pods, millions of them stretching as far as the eye could see. Stasis chambers, Dr. Kim breathed. They're not extinct. They're sleeping. Nari translated the new symbols that appeared. The great sleep is ending. The elders return when the galaxy needs them most, when the children are ready to learn the truth. Captain Yoon touched another control and the view changed. They could see into one of the stasis chambers. The sleeping figure inside looked human but different. Taller, stronger, more perfect somehow, and as they watched, the figure's eyes began to open. They're waking up, Park So-min said quietly. Across the galaxy, in hidden chambers on forgotten worlds, millions of ancient humans were beginning to stir. The great sleep was ending and the true children of Earth were coming home. Admiral Jin made a decision. Signal Earth Command. Tell them to prepare for first contact. Not with aliens, but with our own ancestors. The Stargate network continued to activate. Communication systems that spanned the galaxy came online for the first time in 3 million years. And in languages both ancient and new, the same message spread from world to world. The Terrans have returned. The children of Earth are awake. Let the galaxy prepare for the age of reunion. Dr. Kim looked at her readings one more time. The genetic changes in nearby humans were accelerating. They were becoming stronger, smarter, more capable, just like the sleeping figures in the stasis chambers. We're not just descendants of the ancient humans, she realized. We are them. They made sure that when they woke up, they would find a galaxy populated by their own people. People who had grown up naturally, but were still genetically compatible with the advanced civilization they left behind. The first of the ancient humans was fully awake now, sitting up in his stasis pod and looking around with eyes that had seen the galaxy when it was young. Soon millions more would join him, and Earth, the world that everyone thought was a newcomer to galactic civilization, would reclaim its place as the center of everything.